What happened after you had sex with your best friend? 1. We had gotten drunk to celebrate me getting into med school, and 8 years of repressed sexual tension just poured out in a single night. The next 3 days, we were both in a panic daze. I thought I had lost my best friend for the best sex of my life, and I couldn't stop thinking it wasn't worth it. The sex was mind-blowing, but no one made me feel as safe or as happy, and I would trade anything to keep that. He asked, would it really be so crazy if we tried dating? We moved in together a month later. We've been together now for 7 years, got engaged, saving up for a house and wedding. He's still my best friend. 2. We fell in love and dated for a couple of years, got engaged, then she died suddenly of a pay at 25. That was 13 years ago. I still miss her. She was one of the best people I've ever known. 3. We bought an air fryer and a water cooler for our house, so I guess you could say things are pretty serious. 4. Unfortunately, we stopped being best friends after that. I'm hoping for your other half to say, Dave, that's a horrible way of saying that we are married. My former girlfriend has been giving me evils about my word choices since we got married. My ex-girlfriend says if I keep calling her that, she'll upgrade to ex-wife. She's mainly joking, I think. 5. We slept together twice, and it was weird after the second time. We just drifted off, and now I haven't seen him in 20 years, when I used to talk to him every day. I lost my virginity to my best friend back in 2006. We drifted apart afterwards, and I think about it a lot. I don't necessarily regret the experience, but I regret losing my best friend. Her and I were absolutely inseparable and did just about everything together. I hope she's doing well. She doesn't have social media anymore, but I wish she did so I could talk to her again. That's a lot of how I feel. I'm not even sure how I'd find him at this point, and if it would be weird. But he was an important part of my life for a long time, and I don't regret that. 6. I hated doing it with her cause she said, you were like a brother to me after doing it. Once had a girl tell me this before anything happened. I said, well, I guess that means we're never sleeping together. Her response, no, I fantasize about having sex with my brother. She was complicated. 7. It ruined everything. We don't talk anymore. I'm a gay man with a girl best friend since high school. This happened 7 years ago. I guess I was a little fluid during that period of my life when it happened. But totally prefer only guys now. Lol. I broke up with my boyfriend who was cheating on me and occasionally physically hurts me in public. She was finally separated from her toxic husband who also beats her up. I had a fist fight with this dude one time, and he hates my guts and forbid her from seeing me. She became a single mom, and she was barely having any sex with anyone at that time cause of juggling work and taking care of her daughter. One night, she was insisting on sleeping over at my place, since her kid was at her parents' and she didn't want to be alone. I was like, yeah, sure. Cool. We ordered dinner, watched Friends, looked at our HS yearbook, reminisced, having wine. Probably more than we were supposed to. When it was time for bed, I told her that she can sleep on my bed, and I'll just sleep on the couch like always. But for some reason she was very persistent on making me sleep on the same bed as it had enough room, and I eventually agreed. She played footsies under the sheets with me on my bed. It was kind of awkward at first cause I wasn't responding and pretending to sleep. But her hands were hovering on my chest and going down to my crotch and into my sweatpants. I don't know if it was the alcohol, her hands traveling to the base of my dick, or what, but she looked so pretty when I glanced at her, and she just let out this naughty but sexy smile. IDK. I caved in and kissed her. We just made out so much, then one thing led to another and we had sex. It was actually good. Haha. We kept hanging out for a few more weeks and I was developing some feelings for her. I asked her if she wanted to give it a try. I even thought to myself, I'll be fully ready to take care of her and her toddler if it worked out. But when I poured my heart out and confessed to her, she just ghosted me. I was crying for a month. Found out she has a new husband now and a second kid. They also transferred to my city and lives at the street next to mine. 8. We did a FWD thing for about 3 years. Whenever we were both single, we'd hook up. She lived about 300 miles away. We used to sort of dance around the possibility of actually dating, even getting married, but we never pulled the trigger. The distance was too much, I think. We loved each other very much. Got to the point where whether it was platonic or romantic love was difficult to tell, and weirdly, neither of us was in a rush to figure it out. I guess we both had faith it would work itself out as it was supposed to. And it did. She met a great guy, dated him, and married him. I performed the ceremony. After it was over, at the reception, I gave her a hug and she kissed my cheek and smiled a little flirtatiously. We both knew it was the last time she'd give me that look, and said, "Thanks for marrying me." It was one of the most purely loving, intimate moments of my life. We are still close. Not like before, but we still love each other deeply, and we always will. That love just has a more clearly defined label now, and it's a label we both respect and cherish. So yeah, it's not always a sad ending. Sometimes it's just a weird and beautiful intermission. 9. What happened is, I wanted more and fell totally in love with her. She didn't and thought it was a mistake. We tried staying friend, she became distant, I became weird. She decided that we shouldn't see each other anymore. At all. The comments are literally this or got married. It's crazy how absolute this is. Slept with my best friend. We dated for 2.5 years. Broke up amicably after we signed an apartment lease. Decided to still live together and see how it went. Transitioned back to best friendship no problem, lived together for 3 years. Both of us in great relationships now, have never had any issue between us. 10. Had sex. Dated. Broke up. Got back together. Got married. Had 5 kids. Took trips to Japan and Europe. And now as I'm dying of stage 4 cancer, she is by my side keeping me company, taking care of me, and yeah, even having sex with me still. 11. Best friends for 7 years, and we both just went through really nasty breakups where we were cheated on. Ended up having sex when he came over at like 4 a.m. one night. We ended up sleeping together daily for weeks after that. I ended up pregnant, and to be honest, I was terrified. I wasn't sure if he'd be willing to stick around given the circumstances. Turns out he was excited, having a family was all he ever wanted. We didn't start dating immediately, I didn't want us to be together solely for the fact that we were having a baby. I wanted to make sure there was an actual connection there. In October, after months of basically living together, we made it official. Baby boy is due any day now, and we couldn't be any happier. Having him come over that night in June was the best decision I ever made. This is like a 90s rom-com or SMTH. Congratulations to you two BTW. 12. We didn't have sex as much as I practiced eating pussy on her 3 to 4 times a week for 8 years. We'd usually just do best friend stuff afterwards, smoke weed, get drive-through, watch a stupid movie. Damn, 8 years is a long time, you must be a professional pussy eater by now, haha. I mean, I like to think I'm a little bit better than I was 8 years ago, haha. Good hours. But I've found out eating pussy is like transferring credits in college. Not everything transfers, and the new college doesn't even have a name for one of the classes you took for 3 years. This chick was over here with the master plan. Had a personal pussy eater with zero commitment or effort on her part. I read your comments that you were totally cool with it, so good for you, but she had a setup. Imagine some girl you know comes to suck your dick a few times a week and you don't have to do a damn thing for it. A miracle. Just for future endeavors, how is it that you reached an agreement about doing that? Did you ask her directly? I told her in my drunkenness that I was nervous that I was not good at it and she said you can practice on me. I thought she was joking. She was not. It never got between our friendship though, and we still make jokes about it when we get drunk. I mean, I probably would have been okay after a few lessons, but we kept it going. We were very close and people thought we were fucking anyway, so it just seemed right. Although we never actually had penetrative sex. 13. I dated her, helped deliver her daughter, raised her daughter as mine, and don't regret it. Bought a house, moved in together, she began hating being a mother and staying at home all the time, started cheating with coworkers, got exposed by her 2-year-old daughter. Please don't even ask how I packed my shit and left immediately. Now she makes TikToks about how shitty I am to this day. Yet the only thing I miss about that relationship is being a father to that baby. Now she's the reason I don't think I'll ever date a woman with kids or are pregnant. Nothing against those beautiful women, but I'm honestly traumatized because I still miss that kid every day. 14. Said no homo, then went our separate ways. I'm a guy and I had a guy buddy who I swear wanted it. He'd make all these gay comments jokingly, but one time we were alone and I grabbed him from behind a rough house. He jokingly started grinding on me and I went with it. He was starting to moan and snapped out of it and got all embarrassed and was trying to act macho the rest of the night. I feel bad for him. If he had been honest with himself about his preferences, he'd be a much happier man. And I would have fucked the shit out of him, of course. Your loss, Gary. 15. Complicated backstory. There was a same-sex female couple in my gaming group, about 10-11 years ago. We'd hang out and play video games and tabletop RPGs and card games. They were pretty much the only female friends I had. That group of 5 people was basically my main friends group. After knowing them for about a year, they got drunk one time and we joked around. One of them said something about me joining them in their bedroom, but I laughed it off as the alcohol talking. The following day, sobered up, the other one came back and repeated their invitation. We started a physical relationship where I was the third person in the relationship. We also had to sort of tiptoe around the other friends, so they didn't know we were all sleeping around with each other. In the end, it turned out their woman-woman relationship was in trouble and had been since before I got involved. It eventually broke up, with problems between those two. The last time we were all in the same room together was maybe 9 years ago. The last time I saw either of them was maybe 2017 at somebody else's housewarming. We went from 3 friends who'd throw dice, play cards, and PWN noobs together on Xbox, to being 3 virtual strangers who haven't seen each other in years.